With all of this recent garden subfloor news being revealed about doors, I think it's time we take a step back and focus on another feature which likely would come in the next Doors update, that being the secret room under the Courtyard statue. Essentially, ever since the Courtyard was revamped in the Floor 2 update, the giant angelic statue located on its right has had a secret feature not normally seen in-game. It can actually be split open through the middle, revealing a secret passageway underneath it that will likely be used in an upcoming update. Now, given how the garden subfloor is going to release soon and the Courtyard has a similar nature theming to it, I think now is a better time than ever to implement the secret room under the statue. And seeing how we were already revealed what the entrance to the subfloor is, the purpose of this secret room is now up for debate. So, in this video, I'll be going over everything you need to know about the secret passageway under the Courtyard statue indoors, as well as what I believe will be its purpose. So, with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so based on a recent teaser, we know that the entrance to the garden subfloor will take place at the giant door located at Greenhouse Room 99. Or should I say Room 90, as its location appears to have moved. One of the prime suspects for what the secret statue room could have been used for was the entrance to the subfloor, and now that we know that isn't the case, it has to be something else. Obviously, it can't be for another subfloor entrance, as two subfloors being located as a single room apart is unreasonable. And given how both the Courtyard and Greenhouse are nature-themed, two subfloors themed around the wilderness would be completely unrealistic and unnecessary. This just leaves one other possibility for what this secret room could be used for, at least based on the evidence I have gathered, and that is a lore room. What I mean is, this secret passageway under the statue likely won't serve a gameplay use, but rather would exist as a special area dedicated to explaining some part of the game's story. Now, there are two main reasons as to why I believe this to be the case. For one, the statue itself depicts a character who we have never seen or heard of before. As it stands, the most likely candidate for who it could be depicting is Guiding Light, which is a theory I've explained in a previous video, but that isn't confirmed. So I think it'd be fitting if an explanation for whoever this angelic figure is was present under the statue itself. Additionally, the Courtyard statue also has the plaque in front of it with the cryptic Limbo message, which has been the center point of many heated lore discussions. All in all, the entire statue is just a powerhouse of lore and storytelling, so I think it would be very fitting if the secret room underneath it kept up that theme. Now, as for what would be in this room, I'm not sure. Given how Doors rarely ever has direct storytelling apart from dialogue from the architects in El Goblino, I'd assume the room would have some objects or something that would imply a greater story element. A random example of what I'm referring to is, you open the statue, go into the secret room, and inside you find a bunch of seek eyes, piles of giggles, and piles of screeches. Just these objects alone would imply that Screech is a Seek-infected Giggle, and although we already know this based on other evidence in the game, it's just an example of what could be in the room. Now, it's always possible that something else could be in the secret room, but given how it's located under a very lore-important area, I think it's a strong possibility it would be lore-important as well. However, now that we know what could potentially be the purpose of the room, how would it be accessed? As it currently stands, there's no way to open the Courtyard statue and access the passageway underneath it. So when this room does get implemented, there would have to be some method in order to open the statue. However, what could this be? Well, there is, I think, another secret area in the Courtyard that could come into play, that being the Courtyard basement. You see, in the Courtyard, players can access a secret basement area filled to the brim with tons of snares and gold. Now, many players will just access this room, take the gold, and leave without thinking more of it, but this isn't where its story ends. According to the developers themselves, this room will actually receive a greater purpose in the future, and I actually think it ties back into the Courtyard statue's secret room. Okay, technically they didn't confirm it, but they ambiguously answered the question, which heavily implies something deeper will go on with this room. Now, as many of you probably know, the normal basement rooms in the hotel have a lever, and when pressed, they'll allow you to progress into the next room. I believe that when the Courtyard basement does get updated, it will receive a similar mechanic, where you must pull a lever or do some sort of puzzle to open up the Courtyard statue and access the room underneath it. The reason why I believe this is because 1, it lines up with how normal basement rooms function, that being to harbor a puzzle which must be solved in order to progress, and 2, I genuinely don't see any other functionality that this room could realistically have. It could of course be another lore room or just have a completely different unrelated purpose, but given its close proximity to the Courtyard statue, I definitely feel the two could be connected. Furthermore, the Courtyard basement also has a notably large gated off section with two openable doors behind it. These doors currently can't lead anywhere, but given how they were specifically programmed to be openable by the player, I definitely think that when this room does gain its additional purpose, we would somehow be able to get behind this gate, open those doors, and access the room hiding behind it. So, as a quick recap, I believe that the secret room under the Courtyard statue will contain some big lore reveal due to how the statue itself is very intertwined with the story. And in order to access that secret room, you'd have to complete some sort of puzzle in the Courtyard basement, specifically behind the gated off section, as it's currently inaccessible and its openable doors imply we should be able to open them at some point. Now, all of this is great and all, but what are the chances of it actually being added in the next update? Sure, the Courtyard statue secret room will be added eventually, but what makes me so confident that it will be added alongside the garden subfloor? Well, for one, with the release of the new subfloor teaser video, we know that its entrance will be located in room 90 instead of room 99, meaning it takes place in the room right after the Courtyard, so it would be fitting to update both at the same time due to their close proximity. Additionally, given how both Room 90, which takes place in the greenhouse, as well as the Courtyard are themed around nature, it would be reasonable to assume both could be updated in the update mostly themed around nature as well. Lastly though, both the Courtyard statue and basement have existed in the game for months. Ever since Floor 2 release, these features have been quietly sleeping, waiting for their time to shine. So I think now is a better time than ever to finally let them be revamped. So, with all of that being said, why should you care about all of this? Who gives a crap about some lore room? 80% of the player base doesn't even care about the story. Well, like most things indoors, by completing this quest and accessing the passageway underneath the Courtyard statue, it's likely you'd receive a badge for the accomplishment. I know many players of Doors are completionists, so if you're looking to obtain every single achievement in the game, this one would definitely be on the list. So knowing how to actually obtain it would be useful. Other than that, I highly doubt this room would be of importance to anyone else besides those invested in the game's story, but even then its potential for what it could explain is definitely large. There is also the possibility that this isn't for a lore room at all, but I'm not sure of what that possibility could be, and even then it would still likely reward a badge for accessing it, so completionists wouldn't really care. Alright, I think I've yapped enough in this video. The point I wanted you to take away is to just keep an eye out on both the Courtyard statue and the Courtyard basement, as it's possible both could receive a pretty major expansion in the very next Doors update, which is actually theorized to release next week. So, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of all of this, and thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoy.